Hi everyone, welcome. I'm so happy to introduce you to Gayle Powell. And Gayle Powell, I fell in love with her and I met her in Flora Abbey on Art of Allowing course, and we even met in Flora's retreat in Santa Barbara. And I found out that Gayle is not just a painter, but she's also a brilliant astrologer. And I wanted to invite her and to pour her wisdom on us. So welcome, Gayle. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be here and be able to share this full moon energy with your full moon class. It's such a beautiful time to be alive and experience the full moon energies and coming into this new paradigm that we are, and it's anchoring into our world and into our lives now. This full moon that's coming up on May 29th, which is Pacific Daylight Time, so whatever time zone you're in, you could be a day ahead or however that works out for you, but it's happening on Pacific Daylight Time, May 29th at 7:19 in the morning. And it's a moon in Sagittarius, and it's going to be really challenging because we've been building up to this with all of the past astrological aspects that we've had and leading us into this new paradigm that we're coming into. And we're leaving the old paradigm behind. We're completely moving into a new paradigm, and it's now being anchored into the physical energies of the world and to the humans that are on it. And this full moon in Sag is going to challenge our belief systems and our belief systems about the feminine. You can already see how this movement's been building. So you kind of have all these dominoes that line up for bringing in this completely new energy on the belief systems about the feminine, how we feel about the feminine. It's just also having faith. We need to really be having faith because we're in a very unusual time where things don't work like they used to work. So before we would make a plan and you would have a goal in mind and you would have step A, B, C, and D to get to that goal. Well, the energy is not really working like that anymore. So the belief systems that we have create the desires and the goals and what we want to do. And we have to make sure that if there's inner conflict, it's going to create blockages to take us there. So we're having to do a lot of work with our inner conflicts so that they're in an alignment with our desires and goals and where we want to go, and do our belief systems back that up. So we're in a time of really being able to move forward towards our desires and our goals and manifesting what we want in this world. But this is just a very complicated full moon that's bringing in a lot of energy for us to look at the belief systems, and also to really realize that we have to have faith and trust that what's right in front of us and the openings that are there for us, that we're going to walk through them, even though we don't know the next step. So that's the difference between how we used to do things and how we do them now.
Thank you for saying this. We have started the Moon Priestess just like that. We were called, Brenda and I, and Yael too, and we were just taking one step after the other. We still don't know. It's like, what is this moon thing?
You're happy to have faith that you're going to be shown, because the most wonderful thing that we don't always remember is our higher self knows what's best for us and where we're going. And it's kind of like a cosmic joke to me now that, okay, we're leading you in the right direction, but you're not always going to know exactly where that is or what it even looks like. So that's where having the faith comes in. So with the full moon, it shines full light that you have to have faith. But it's also the past collective beliefs that we've had as a collective people are really being challenged right now as well. And you can see that in the news. But this full moon backs that up. And it's on a collective level, but it also breaks down to an individual level, because as a woman, if you don't love your body and you don't love yourself and you feel bad about certain things, then you're in conflict with your own inner being and in conflict with being a woman, and we're betraying ourselves. So a lot of us are having to look at how are we not supporting ourselves with our belief systems that we've been handed and the patterning that we've been handed and the photoshops of women and everything that we've been handed. Are we just really embracing the unique individuals that we are and not picking ourselves apart and that we're not good enough? And there's a lot of this happening. So it's happening on the collective of women wanting to be respected and honored and not pawed and all the rest of it, whatever. But it's also going on with the men in the work environment where they're not being treated well. And it's just starting with the women. So it's going to filter down, because a part of this full moon is really learning to balance the male and female energies within all of us and in our world and in the collective. And it has to do about the way we've been taught to believe and think. And so we're really having to do this inner work of going in and allowing the time to go in and say, what's not working here for me and why is this not working? And what belief systems do I need to change or look at or to adjust in order to go where I want to go and feel good in my heart, and embracing, myself, being able to give love to myself and everybody else out there, because the main thing that's going to really bring a major change is this loving of oneself and others. And the interesting thing about that is that Uranus just went into Taurus in the middle of May. And Uranus has been squaring Pluto for like the last, I don't remember exactly the amount of years at the moment off the top of my head, but 8 to 10 maybe. And that's what really started bringing in the conflict and the harsh realities that really started to change from the old age to the new age. And so we had all this crazy making going on, and things were really harsh, were tough, stuff was happening that we weren't really expecting. And Uranus is the awakener. It moves slower. It's one of the outer planets. And with it going into Taurus, that too is affecting the feminine, the women, but it also affects our values, what is really important to us. And so all of this is a big, big picture of what's going on in this full moon energy. So we just had Uranus go into Taurus, and then this full moon a couple of weeks later, just bringing light to the belief systems on what we value and how we love ourselves. And also it also has our likes, what's in matter and what's in form. It rules the arts. It rules all the loves. It rules creativity, music. So you can see when the awakener goes into Taurus, the way that we view all of this stuff is going to be completely changed, because we're going to be awakened to what is new and more important for us in our belief systems and what we value. And it's going to be in this planet this sign until 2026. So it's a slower moving thing, but it's being set off by this full moon in Sag, where we're having to have faith in what we're being shown in our world of what's working and what's not working, or not knowing exactly what your next step is, or just having faith that you're being led in the right direction when it's this all brand new thinking for us, because we're having to use our intuition more and really listen to that. And it's also about, we come to this earth to really express our souls. And if you don't know truly at the core of your being what your soul expression really needs to be, because you've been molded and patterned in a certain way, or held back or down, the belief systems have to change in order for us to let the soul expression come up and come out. And that's the beautiful thing about being on this earth plane, because we can do that here, and we can really feel the beauty of that expression of our souls. So there's a lot going on with one of the things I would say is a really good important thing to do right now is to allow more space in your life. So it's like it's like you have to allow the spaces, because the spaces is where the information comes into us. And we're so used in the old paradigm, rushing, 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 rushing. We never left any space between the thinking and the knowing, and we would just like, we would just be always doing, and we have to leave space between the doing and the thinking and the knowing. We just have to, leave space. And I don't know if that makes sense to you, but there's a deep inner knowing and inner change that happened within those spaces.
Yeah, I feel like this is, part of doing this course and setting yourself a sacred space to paint is going into receiving messages. It's such a mystery to me how it works, but I know it works.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and I know that I'm sure that fear is coming. I'm sure that fear is coming up for a lot because we don't even know what our concepts are because we're so molded into them. So I think maybe getting in touch with nature can help, and just be quiet and touching the earth. And I wonder if you see also, from your perspective, some tips how to do it, to create.
Yeah, all of that is really important right now. Movement's really important because we want to get the energy up and out of us that's been stagnant and stuck. The fears that we have. Fear is going to be normal right now because as human beings, we're taught to fear the unknown, and the unknown can be the most beautiful thing that can happen to us. So it's like if you can just do some breathing exercises, even just inhaling for 4 counts, holding for 4 counts, exhaling for 4 counts, just to calm yourself down when you get into these situations where you're either being triggered and when you get triggered, you have to realize that's, a conflict within yourself that's coming up and out, and you got to go back and look and see. And what that means is if you overreact to a situation, that's being triggered. And there's something at the core of that we need to heal. And so the beautiful energy of the moon and the priestess and the goddess and the mother is holding the space for the healing. And by example, being there to nurture and support while you're going through this. So this again is the belief systems that we have to look at, and having a more expanded view than what we were taught. And it's a beautiful in giving you your own empowerment as a woman or even as an individual to start trusting your intuition and allowing for the space for the intuition to come to you, because if you're constantly rushing, 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 you can't hear the inner voice that's leading you, your higher self, that knows where you need to go and what you need to do. And it's the same thing when you're painting, because that's the one time that I really learned, like you said, it's such a mystery how it happens. But the feminine is about mystery. How giving birth is a mystery. The fact of how all that happens, and that this all of a sudden you got this person from nowhere, you know what I'm saying? But you go through a lot of pain, and you have to have time for the form to finally come out in the birthing process. So you got to have that space in between the beginning and the end, and you have to have faith that everything's going to be okay, because as a mother, you could drive yourself crazy. Is the baby getting enough this? Is that happening? Is this? You could just go crazy. So you have to step back and allow nature to take its way and what it does, and trust that process and have faith that it's all working, And then if something comes up, then you deal with that. But I'm just saying, it's really a birthing process right now of rebirthing ourselves at our soul level, having a more expanded view than just the narrow views that we have, a lot of us. Because there's really no good and bad. It's just all energy. You see what I'm saying? So it's like some things that we think are bad actually turn out to be really good for us, some of the best things that could ever happen to us. And some things that are good can turn out to be not exactly what we wanted. You know, I know a lot of women, I want this handsome man. And they get this handsome man, but he's really abusive. And it's like, oh my God, you see what I'm saying? So we have to have a more expanded view of really what our soul needs are. With Uranus going into Taurus, what kind of love do we give to ourselves? What kind of love do we want from others? What kind of love are we giving to others? And the other thing is we really have to par down on having too much stuff, because when we par down, then we're able to really deal with what's most important to us and not get all distracted with too much extra baggage. Even on a mental level, we need to par down what we're carrying with us, what's working for us. Oh yeah, and you have to do some inner work to do that. You know, so you kind of have to go inside and go, is that really working for me? Or the way that I just talked to that person, or the way I allowed that person to talk to me, is that really working for me? And if it's not, what's the solution for that? It's really not about beating oneself up. It's really about doing some inner work where the inner conflicts are coming up for us to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like painting is part of practicing being with the unknown, because to be creative, you have to allow yourself to be in the unknown, because you don't,
Right.
this kind of painting that we do, we don't know what is going to come.
Right.
And there is fear, oh my God, I'm going to destroy it, and what will happen? So it's a great practice to start listening to the intuition. And yeah.
Right. It's so true, because in the painting process that we're discussing, I mean, I don't even know when I get in front of a canvas what's going to come. And the first time I ever did that, it just kind of freaked me out, because things, when you open up that space, things just start to flow. And then you get involved where that inner critic voice comes in, and then you start going, oh, am I doing it right? Is it going to look good? And then that's where the blockages start to come in. So that's where we have to do this inner work and saying, yeah, this critic's got a place, but not like the loud voice in my head. So I want to go back to that magical space of allowing the energy to flow without being concerned what it looks like. No one's looking. I can just do what I feel, can have fun. And especially with acrylics, if you don't like something, you can just do it over. So it's just a matter of having fun and being in the moment, connecting with the full moon and the priestess and the goddess, and just really enjoying and honoring that energy to flow through you for this class, for sure.
I'm wondering if you, as an astrologer, like you also have a special connection with the moon, like I feel like it's almost like a lover or a master that I'm waiting for when it's full.
Yeah.
And is there a way, or what you know about like moon priestesses? I don't even know where it came. It just came to me. Yeah.
Well, I don't know all the ancient history and all of that regarding that, but I do intuitively feel that we definitely had moon priestesses in the past, and the rituals that went along with all of that. I think definitely with the full moon, it's a good ritual of time of letting go of what was building from the new moon to the full moon, because now you have full light with the full moon. You have full light on whatever circumstances are going on in your life in that moon cycle. And then that's where you can really take a look at it and see what's working, what's not working, and letting go of that what's not working, and receiving in the new. Because when you go from the full moon back to the new moon now, that's a time of releasing what was built up to the full moon, or a time of completion until you start the new moon cycle again. So I really do believe that this was probably a very strong part of our ancient cultures, and I don't even know how back it goes, but I'm sure in the Egyptian, the Babylonian, and all of that, there were a completely different energy than what we have today about that energy.
Wow.
I think that's why we don't hear a lot about it too, because I think a lot of that was suppressed. And so that's kind of what's coming in with the new paradigm of us being able to reconnect and bring the feminine back up so we're in a balance, because when you have too much feminine, you're going to have problems. When you have too much patriarchal, you're going to have problems. We really have to learn to balance this within ourselves and our lives. So the male energy we really need, because it's what allows us to take the actions to manifest what we want. So the feminine energy allows you to put the manifestation into a seed and to birth it, start the birthing process. But the masculine energy helps you, you know, take those steps in order to do it. Pick up that paintbrush and do it. You know what I'm saying? Because the feminine would just stay in the dark and there would be no paintbrushes being picked up to do the work. So, but it's a fine balance that we're all learning. It's a very exciting time to be alive, I think.
Wow, we chose a very dramatic time for this course.
Yes, you did. Especially with Uranus going into Taurus, because you got to think of Uranus as the planet that rules lightning and thunder and unexpected things. So if you're walking down the street and you get hit by lightning, that's a Uranian energy. That's Uranus in action, okay? It comes out of nowhere. You weren't expecting it, and you feel like you just got blindsided or blown off your feet, but it really causes you to look at whatever the circumstances were. Wow, how was I loving that? Wasn't working for me, that now I just got, you know, this stab somewhere. And how do I fix that for myself so I don't continue to attract that energy? You know, it's just like a big going around in a merry-go-round, because if you don't change the way you think about something, it's going to continue. So it's really important that we follow the openings right now while we're keeping our vision of where we want to go in our mind, but we have to follow the openings. And we might think that they're not right, and some of them might turn out to be that they're not working for you, but that's when you go, okay, well, this opening isn't right, so I'll step back, and another opening will open. But it's a matter of having faith and trust that all that's going to work. It's really a brand new way for us to be doing business and thinking, and allowing more freedom of being able to really truly manifest what we want, because we are manifestor beings. So our souls are really trying to take us back to what's really important to us, and the beauty and how the power that we have within us. But we got to step off the merry-go-round first to be able to even start to envision it.
Wow. Yeah, I feel like we need to really also learn how to embrace the pain that is coming with all these changes and all the fear and all those lightnings that are coming in, and just love ourselves. And also, I'm just saying it again, I've started a ritual that I do every morning. I go out and I go outside, I go barefoot on the ground, I sit on the ground, and I'm asking my mind to be quiet and just be, and I talk to the earth, and I talk to the plants, and I sing, and I pray, and I drink my water, and it really helps me kind of being that in touch with nature. And it's the same thing with the moon. Moon gazing meditation that I'm going to show in this class. Also, it evokes like an ancient memories in the body, that I feel like the body knows where we're going to, and our head doesn't. Our head can really freak out because it is molded and homogenized, you know. Yeah.
That's where we're taught a lot to live from the head, the ego part, and that can really lead us astray, even though we do need to have the ego in order to just be who we are. But everything has to be in this balance. What you were describing to me is a moon priestess, absolutely, and honoring the earth and doing the rituals, what you're doing, and bringing in this beautiful energy into your own body and mind that now you can share and give out to others. And the same thing with the moon. I do that a lot. I go out and I just stand in awe of the moon, and I just allow it to feel me and the light from the moon, and just feel that energy and just ask it to come in and surround me and envelop me. But I absolutely love the moon, and I absolutely love being outside and outdoors in the full moon. I try to do that as much as possible, just because there's some kind of essence and specialness with the light that comes from that, to me. So I'm very drawn to that as well.
Yeah, I was just talking with a shaman from the Amazon, and she was saying that the moon is a real entity. They actually experience it as a real entity. And she's saying when you talk to the moon and you invoke the spirit, she hears you.
Yes.
And she works with you. So,
Right.
wow.
I believe that. No, I totally believe that. No, I mean, everything is energy here, and everything is affected by the energy of all the other energies. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, I really have a practice of just breathing in light into my body, and pushing it out into my auric field, and just keeping myself full, and just and making sure that my own etheric and auric field is full of light. Because when it's like that, it's not like you feel like you have to protect yourself from anything else. You're just drawing in and holding your own light, which now then affects all the other energies around you. So that's the beauty of being able to do that kind of work as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a good tip as well.
Mm.
Wow. Any other tips or anything else you want to say?
You really have to look and see whose authority are you listening to, you know, in our lives.
That's brilliant. I think this is, wow. Yeah.
Yes. And that is really an important thing for us, because this full moon is really challenging the structure and the foundation and the patterning that a lot of our lives are structured and built on. And so you got to see who you're giving your authority up to, and whose authority are you listening to?
It has to be your inner authority.
Yes.
Only.
And so much of us are taught to not trust it. We give up our power to other people because of that. And that's not the truth of who we are at the core of our being. We know what's best for us. Our higher selves knows exactly what we need to do and where we need to go to accomplish our soul expression here.
Wow, it takes courage to listen to your inner authority and your inner knowing, and do what is right for you, because this will lead you the next mysterious step.
And it takes a lot of faith and trusting to listen to your own authority and your own inner voice and your own inner knowing, because we were never taught to do that, not in our society.
Right. That was a good point. Thank you for bringing this up.
Yeah. I just want to say, when we par down to it, it really helps make room for the shifts to happen within us. When we par down, we get rid of the extra thoughts and belief systems that really don't suit us anymore, and we know what they are because we start to feel bad. And you got to go, oh my, why am I feeling like that now? What's at the root of that? And oh yeah, that's an old thing I was taught. That's not true. So then you can let go of it and you move on, and you feel good again. But it's really about allowing ourselves to allow the space and watch the belief systems have a more expanded view of our lives than just the smaller view, and have faith and trust. That's the main thing right now. We really have to start really stepping into our faith, even though we don't know. And it's like any kind of birthing. When you're a first-time mother, you don't have any idea what it's going to be like to birth a child, but you just have to have the faith and trust, and you just go with it. And it's not always fun and games. There's going to be the times where there's going to be the pain, because that's what goes on this earth plane. It's a dual nature. So we're going to have both. And that's what we came here to experience. So we need to embrace all of it. And the last thing that I would like to leave you with is what you were mentioning earlier about the fears and the feelings that we have to allow ourselves to feel those. We really do, because we're taught, especially as women, shut it down, don't be so emotional, don't cry, don't this, blah, blah, blah. Be tough, you know. And the truth of it all is men and women really both need to allow themselves to feel what they're feeling and honor it. Because when you try to deny it's there, it doesn't go away. It just gets stuck inside. So it's really important to feel like, okay, right now I'm really sad about so-and-so, and I'm okay with that, but I know I'm going to get better and everything's going to be okay. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And before long, you're able to get it up and out, and now it's not such a big deal.
Yeah.
So that, you know, we have to feel our feelings and allow those feelings and allow the space. After we feel those feelings, just kind of push them out away from you, mm-hmm. out of your auric field, so that they're not so just right in your face. But you first have to allow yourself to feel them, and then you can make the space for it not to be so overwhelming for you, and take a better expanded look of what really happened. What do I need to look at? What's working, what's not?
Wow, thank you so much for your wisdom, Gayle.
Yes, thank you for letting me come.
I'm so happy you're going to also continue and paint with us. I can't wait.
I'm looking forward to that, yes.
Yeah, I can't see how all of this will manifest in our painting, because we will have to cross. It's a journey that we will experience all of this in our mini circle of paint of artists.
Yes, it definitely is a journey.
Yeah.
It's a journey. You're right. We're on an adventure. I keep knowing I'm on an adventure. I might not always like the turns the adventure takes, but it's still an adventure.
It's a wild game.
I know.
Whoever invented this life on Earth, I don't know. It's a wild game.
It is. It is. And we need to start embracing it more than like categorizing, this is really bad and this is really good. And we just need to embrace what the openings are and what's happening for us now, and just take the next step we need to and move forward into whatever these openings are.
Good luck to us and blessing to all of us.
Yes. Yes. Blessings to everybody in the course, and may the full moon maybe make everything exciting for you in your creative journey.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Gayle.
Thank you.
So much love to you. That was so much wisdom. Thank you for giving us, pouring it on us.
All right. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. Love you so much. Take care.
Thank you.